panelists and candidates who are here today. We're excited to host this forum. And I just want to say that now more than ever, local journalism is incredibly important. And as Evanston prepares for its upcoming elections, the Daily Northwestern, the Evanston Roundtable, and Where the People Meet TV are really dedicated to providing accurate and engaging and transparent coverage. So we're really looking forward to this forum today and getting to talk about and ask questions about the issues that matter the most to Evanston.
And hello, can you all hear me? Okay. I'm Malika Gardner with Where the People Meet, and thank you, Lily. I called her up and said, let's organize a forum. It's crucial right now. And I wanted all the media to get together to really do this. And the roundtable said, we'll come on as panelists. So it's important that we get the right information out. So thank you so much for working with me on this. Thank you. The stakes are definitely high right now. And across the country, we see things shifting in policy, in power, in leadership. And Evanston is the same thing. We have a lot of shifting taking place. And some people see it as progress, and they're excited for what's to come. And then others see this shifting as a serious concern. So whether you agree with it or you don't agree, you support, you don't support, the point is it's leadership that matters. It matters. And this property that we're on right now, the history of this property, think about the leadership. Black families lived on this property. They had homes. It was the leadership back in what, 1930? 1929. The leadership decided they wanted this land. So they literally picked up the houses from the ground and moved them to the 5th Ward. That's how powerful leadership is. That's how powerful it is. And that's how powerful elections are. Because guess what? It can happen again. Might be happening right now, it just doesn't look the same. So we gotta pay attention, we gotta stay engaged, we gotta stay informed. And so I thank my media crew, friends here, Heidi Rondova, helping us out, my partner in crime, Don here, Percy, my mom, everybody, and all of you for coming out, because you could have been at the Super Bowl, watching the Super Bowl. But you put Evanston first, and that speaks volumes, and I thank you. So listen closely to all the candidates, the questions, and we will be coming out to get questions from you to ask the candidates. And thank you to the candidates. They're all coming at their different times. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for coming and take the tough questions from the panelists and the residents. Thank you so much. So we're going to get started and get this ball rolling. For sure. So our next ward is the 8th Ward. Incumbent Councilmember Devon Reid. You want to take 30 seconds to tell people who you are?
Yeah. Can I get a raise of hands? Are there any 8th Warders in the room? 8th Warder, wonderful. We got you're holding it down for the entire ward, so I appreciate you being here. My name is Devon Reid. I'm the council member for the 8th Ward. I was first elected to serve Evanston at the ripe old age of 24 when I served as city clerk of Evanston for a term. As city clerk, I fought for transparency, for greater participation in local government. And as a council member, I think I've continued those fights for transparency, for inclusion, for equity in our community. I feel, I've been at the center of many of the large policies that we've moved, whether it be Fair Work Week that we passed earlier, whether it be environmental issues or issues on our city budget and stabilizing our finances. So really looking forward to jumping into those topics this evening.
Are you running by yourself?
No, I'm not. My opponent, Matt Rogers, did not respond to be here tonight.
All right, to start off questions, the 8th Ward, of course, is Evanston's southern border and municipal border with Chicago, and Howard Street being a major commercial corridor. How do you see, over this term, how have you worked with the 49th and 50th Wards on the development and economics of Howard Street, and what work do you see ahead in the coming term along the corridor on Howard Street? You have 90 seconds.
Yeah, thank you for that. So the Howard Street corridor is, I believe, as the 8th Ward Alderman, a critical corridor for Evanston. It is a difficult one, as was noted, because we share a border with Chicago, and what some folks may not know is that 2/3 of Howard Street belongs to Evanston, and the last third is Chicago's. I've had a really good relationship with both council members on the Chicago side, Maria Haddon and Deborah Silverstein. We've had regular communication, particularly with the 49th Ward because of Howard train station. Some of the challenges that we've faced on the corridor is, one, at the Howard train station, there has been an issue with encampments popping up right under the L, and so we've had to take steps to address that. In the city, we were able to secure funding for new lighting, for new cameras. We activated the police department and the care team that we supported, and we've really been able to clean up that issue. The next issue is really just development. We were able, on the Evanston side, to secure a laundromat near Howard and Elmwood, and we're looking to redevelop that into mixed-use, mixed-income housing. The challenge will be in the next term is continuing that relationship with both council members on the Chicago side, ensuring that Chicago is doing their part to develop and make investments on their side, because if we have if we continue the work that we're doing on Howard Street
10 seconds.
and we make the Evanston side beautiful, it doesn't really mean anything if the Chicago side isn't working along with us. And so we have we've worked to create a special service area that will potentially be managed by the Rogers Park Business Alliance, which will help create some more synergy between the two communities.
All right. Okay. Let's see. I'm learning something new every day. Okay. So, now you've pushed ideas like, for example, prohibiting cashless businesses and increasing the minimum wage, kind of aimed at working people in Evanston, especially in your ward. What sort of other ideas do you have? Were you to win as another term? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, my priorities are the priorities of folks who are least proximate to power. I've received letters and emails that have called me everything on the spectrum. Some folks say that I'm a Marxist, and some folks say that I'm the worst capitalist in the world because of supporting Northwestern, and so the new stadium. And so it's really run the gambit. But I think what I've done is I've maintained consistency in fighting for the working class, fighting for issues that aren't typically brought up on the council. I am one of 2 renters that serves on the council, and I think that's an important demographic to represent. I'm the youngest member of the Evanston City Council, although I'd say because of my time as clerk, I may be one of the more seasoned members of the council, even given my youth. I think that my priorities for the next term are to wrap up some of the work we've started now. That's Envision Evanston is obviously going to be something that the next council takes on, and I'd like to
10 seconds.
save what I was going to say for the next question in that case. But I think there's still a lot of work to do on equity. I think there's still a lot of work to do on shoring up our city finances. I've been one of the only council members to consistently push for new revenue, and particularly for revenue that does not disproportionately fall on the backs of working folks here in Evanston. And so I will continue that so we have the resources we need to do all of the good work. Thank you.
And where do you land on the idea of increasing the supply of housing as leading to more affordability? Is that something that you believe in? 60 seconds.
60 seconds. Okay, yes, I do think that we know that there's research around when you increase missing middle housing, so that's not low-income housing, that's not affordable in the way that a lot of folks think about it, but this is middle-income housing that's maybe 150% of AMI, somewhere around there. And when you increase the supply of that housing, you reduce the burden on the lower income and more affordable housing, so folks who can afford that. You get the folks who are more middle income but don't have the housing stock available to them to move into those units, and you get the lower income folks who are still striving for their footing here in our city to be able to occupy those units. So I do believe that generally increasing the supply of units and the diversity of units will be a part of solving our affordability issue. Although, to the point around Envision Evanston, do I think Envision Evanston and the zoning proposals that have come forward are going to be the panacea and the cure-all for all of our affordable housing issues? No. But certainly what Envision Evanston and the zoning changes that accompany it will do is remove barriers to create more opportunity for affordable housing throughout our community.
Some more questions from the audience. I saw someone raise their hand over here.
We certainly got to get the 8th warders in the room.
With so many apartments in the area already, why would you replace a laundromat with more apartments that the city has shown that the more apartments that come up are out of the reach of the poor who need housing?
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, I'm not sure exactly what study you're referring to that says the city has shown that the housing is out of reach, but, and also there isn't a development that's happened there yet, so we don't know what the housing is going to exactly look like. But what I can tell you my priorities is to ensure that we are building 3-bedroom units on this site to ensure that we are doing a mixed income development because we want some affordable units, but also Howard Street in the south end also needs some more market rate units, as I said, to alleviate some of the pressures on our more affordable units. And so I have business owners along Howard Street who, I guess, unlike my colleagues on the north end of town, they actually are asking for more density. They want to see more housing units along Howard Street because they know that the more people that live on Howard Street and the more that we can diversify, the income demographics of our area, the more that their businesses will be supported, the better that Howard Street will be, the safer Howard Street will be. And so for us, those are positive things. There certainly are not enough units. If you hop on Zillow or whatever folks use to look for apartments nowadays, and you'll see that you'll have a hard time finding affordable units, even in the 8th Ward, which has, yes, as you mentioned, certainly a concentration of density in the city of Evanston. So I think there's still work to be done, and there still is a laundromat in the area to maybe the concern about, are we getting rid of a laundromat and leaving folks without options? There is one down the street that folks can still access.
Hi, just as a resident of the 8th Ward, I just want to go on record as saying I support the making available more housing, so thank you for that, I support that. Just to echo some of the previous speakers, do you have like a goal in mind as to how many units you think are needed?
Yeah, thank you for that. A goal for how many affordable housing units are needed. I don't have the number off the top of my head. I think that that is a goal that should be created by the community, right? Because there is no right or wrong answer to how many affordable housing units you want in your community. It depends on what kind of community you want. And so the metric or the formula that I would use to determine how many affordable housing units we need in Evanston is, well, how many entry-level or lower wage positions do we have in the city. I think that everyone or the vast majority of people who work here in Evanston should be able to live here in Evanston. And so that is the metric that I think I would fall to is, what does the job market look like? What can people afford? And then how do we make sure that we have enough units for as many people as possible to be able to live here?
I had a question that had to do with housing, and you had said that you wanted to see more large units, for instance, for affordable housing, more 3-bedroom, more things that families can live in. I'm wanting to know more about your position on the inclusionary housing ordinance, because it seems to me that the proposed zoning code is going to free up developers quite a bit, but there's also the piece of the city telling developers what they want. And the main mechanism for that is the inclusionary housing ordinance that would incentivize larger units, incentivize more affordable housing, and yet I see that that's in trouble on the city council right now. So tell us more about your position on that.
Yeah, thank you. I would disagree with the fact that I don't think the inclusionary housing ordinance is in trouble. I think I heard you say at council. I think it's moving along. We'll be voting on it on Monday for action. There are some changes that I would like to see made to the inclusionary housing ordinance that would increase some of the mandates. I am interested in moving from a 15%, so our current inclusionary housing ordinance, for those of you who don't know, it mandates a certain percentage of affordability in certain developments and planned developments and larger developments. And so I would like to see the current number is it requires 10% affordability in developments. I'd like to see that jump up to 20%. Currently the proposal is 15%. And I think this is something that staff has shared, that we could move it up to 20% and not see adverse effects on the development market in our town, and increase the number of affordable units. I think particularly we need to focus on, I think Mr. Mundy mentioned this earlier, we need to ensure that we are especially increasing the affordability requirement near our transit hubs. So in downtown, near Howard Street, the Howard Street L, near the various Purple Line stops. And so that would be my priority, is particularly focusing on transit-oriented development across our town. And one of the things that I push for is increasing the distance that we see as within the transit hub, whereas it used to be half a mile. I think we moved it up to about a mile.
We're going to get one more question, and then we'll move on to the 6th ward. So you guys will be on deck. Okay.
When I hear you talk about housing, it sounds like you're talking about new build. In the city of Evanston, there are 18 2-bedroom units, 6 3-bedroom units that have been sitting empty for 9 months. Now, it would be cheaper to rehab those units and get them filled than to wait for a new build, which would cost more. What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you for your question.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. For those of you who don't know, what Mr. Carter, correct?
Yes, Mr. Carter.
What Mr. Carter is referring to are buildings on Wesley in the 5th Ward that were found to have serious life and safety issues, and the city through its inspection process determined that that the building was unsafe for residents. And what the city did was, with the leadership of Councilmember Burns and Mayor Fiss and City Manager Stowe, really putting a lot of time into this, we were able to provide housing assistance, moving assistance, all kinds of assistance to the folks who are in this situation. And I think it creates a playbook for how we can handle these situations moving forward when we find such a serious issue. One of the things that certainly needs to come from this is that we need to increase the regularity and the strength of our inspection process. And one of the ways that we do that is, one, I have pushed for landlord licensing, for housing provider licensing, to ensure that if someone is creating unsafe, unlivable living conditions for any member of our community, that the city actually has a tool to take away their right to gain profit from providing housing. And so I think that's one measure we can take. And also, what you mentioned there is the city making investment in property ourselves. And currently, the city just is not set up for that. We're not set up for that. I think there's more that we can do. I think one of the big things that is going to put us in position to tackle these issues is one of the reasons I voted for the Northwestern stadium deal is we were able to secure over $20 million for affordable housing over the next 15 years through that deal. And that puts us, that is a historic investment in affordable housing, and that will give us some of the leeway to do some of the things that I think you would be proud of and many folks in this room would.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'll just close with this. One, really, it's an honor to be here. I really appreciate all of the work that folks in the media do, Malika and Roundtable and Evanston Now and Daily Northwestern, maybe less so Evanston Now, but so I appreciate all of the work that you all do. And I'm really also appreciative for everyone who took time out of their Sunday to come here to listen to candidates. This is what democracy is. This is what our community needs more of. And so, for those of you who aren't the one person in the room who's an 8th ward, I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.